living in a world where there is no war. No, no, no.
So pure.
And imagine that everyone you see knows what we are living for.
How great we
Oh, what a wonderful world it would be, a world of love and peace. Where no evil can abide, only righteousness increase. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we can do it if we only believe. Yes, we can do it if we only agree. It's your world and mine.
Your world
Yeah,
and
yeah,
mine.
yeah. Your world and mine.
Your world and mine.
Your world and mine.
Your world and mine.
Imagine that everyone could give as much as they like to get. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And imagine if everyone could learn to show each other respect. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, what a wonderful world it would be for you and me. Yeah, yeah. Then even the blind could see, and the deaf man could hear. Boy, oh yeah. Yes, we can do it if we only believe. We can do it if we only agree. It's your world and mine.
Your world and mine.
Your world and mine, yeah.
Your world and mine.
Your world and mine,
Your
yeah.
world and mine.
Your world and mine.
Your world and mine.
Yes, imagine that everyone could love the Most High as your Savior.
Father that we love.
And imagine if everyone could reverence the King of Kings and Lord of Lords.
Conqueror.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, what a holy world it would be, a world of tranquility. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, what a beautiful world it would be, a world of serenity.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, we can do it if we only believe. We can do it if we only agree. It's your world and mine.
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 And imagine that every
Dear friends, I want to welcome everyone to tonight's CFN. We are going to have a very interesting presentation tonight on a document called The Common Endeavor. And infused in this first hour would be a lot of music to kind of prepare us and warm the space as we get ready to be presented by two wonderful speakers, Mr. Jeffrey Ewing and Miss Deborah Pierce. So I want to welcome everyone. Sit back, relax. It's the 6th anniversary of CFN, the exact date. 6 years ago, August 7th, we started. So I want to thank everyone for being here tonight, including our speakers and all the other friends that I'm seeing. My wife, who is assisting me with co-hosting, Patricia Jordan Boris, Sister Yassi, Sister Mueke, Jeffrey and Deborah, Catherine, Clyde is here, Carolyn is here, Charles and Sandra are here, Carol Mansour, Kevin Roberts from Tobago, and Taheri all the way from Macau. So welcome, and we will take a repeat of that Caribbean song, Your World and Mine, talking about unity. And then we will share some other music. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Imagine living in a world where there is no war. No, oh no.
So pure.
And imagine that everyone you see knows what we're living for.
How great we
Oh, what a wonderful world it would be, a world of love and peace. Where no evil can abide, only righteousness increase. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we can do it if we only believe. Yes, we can do it if we only agree. It's your will and mine. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Your will and mine.
your world and mine,
Your will and mine.
your world and mine.
Imagine that everyone could give as much as they like to get. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And imagine if everyone could learn to show each other respect. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, what a wonderful world it would be for you and me. Then even the blind could see, and the deaf man could hear. Boy, oh yeah, yes, we can do it if we only believe. We can do it if we only agree. It's your will and mine.
Your world
Yeah, yeah. Your will and mine. Yeah.
your world and mine,
Your will and mine.
your world and mine,
Your will and mine.
your world and mine.
Just imagine that everyone could love the Most High as your Savior. And imagine if everyone could reverence the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Yeah, yeah. Oh, what a holy world it would be, a world of tranquility. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, what a beautiful world it would be, a world of serenity.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, we can do
Beloved friends, welcome to all. The next piece of music will be some sacred African drumming. And when that music is played, we're going to listen to about 3 minutes of it. Please put the names of your prophets, our saints and ancestors in the chat. This is the formal means of inviting them into the space, as we know that there is a mingling of conditions during prayer, and those souls who have ascended are able to assist us. So please put their names in the chat. We have many souls who have recently passed. Alric Jones, our friend who spoke here many times, and Glenford Mitchell, a Caribbean icon. We have just lost those souls, so please put their names in the chat while this drum is played, and then we'll have a couple other songs. Thank you again, and welcome to each of you that is here tonight.
Oh, yeah, the sound. Drums of freedom shake the ground. Oh, voices rise like a fire in the sky. I hear the drums across the land, calling every heart to stand. From the valley to the sea, they are singing, we are free. Feet are moving through the dust, broken chains return to rust. Every voice and every flame is calling out a sacred name.
Mama said, don't fear the night.
The soul was born to
Carry light.
brother, sister, raise your hand. Freedom lives across this land.
These are the drums of freedom, beating strong inside our hearts. These are the songs of freedom, lighting fire in the dark. We rise, we stand, we lift our voices high. These are the drums of freedom,
Of rolling
thunder through the sky.
children dance where the fire glows. Hope is blooming like a rose. Elders speak with ancient grace. Wisdom shining on every face. No fear can silence what we sing. No storm can break a golden wing. Together now we hear the call. One rhythm for us all.
Mama said, remember your name. Your spirit carries sacred flame.
Brother, sister, take my hand. Freedom lives across this land.
These are the drums of freedom, beating strong inside our hearts. These are the songs of freedom, lighting fire in the dark. We rise, we stand, we lift our voices high.
Dear friends, we are going to have a very special song. It's called God Has Chosen You. And it's the words of Abdul Baha, talking about many holy souls who in former times longed to live in this century, in this cycle, where they can contribute to the unification of the human world. And without being asked, our souls were chosen to participate in that process. So enjoy this next song.
God has chosen you to blend together human hearts and give light to the human world. Many holy souls in former times long to witness this century, lamenting night and day, yearning to be upon the earth in this cycle. But our presence and privilege is the beneficent gift of the Lord. In His divine mercy and absolute virtue, He has bestowed this upon us. Even as Christ declared, many are called, but few are chosen. Verily God has chosen you for His love and knowledge. God has chosen you for the worthy service of unifying mankind. God has chosen you for the purpose of investigating reality and promulgating international peace. God has chosen you for the progress and development of humanity, for spreading and proclaiming true education, for the expression of love towards your fellow creatures, and the removal of prejudice. God has chosen you to blend together human hearts and give light to the human world. The doors of His generosity are wide open to us, but we must be attentive, alert and mindful, occupied with service to all mankind, appreciating the bestowals of God and ever conforming to His will. God has chosen you. God has chosen you to blend together human hearts. God has chosen you to blend together human hearts and give light to the human world. Many holy souls in former times long to witness this century. In His divine mercy and absolute virtue, He has bestowed this
Dear friends, I want to read the prayer for America before I make another short statement. O thou kind Lord, this gathering is turning to thee. These hearts are radiant with thy love. These minds and spirits are exhilarated by the message of thy glad tidings. O God, let this American democracy become glorious in spiritual degrees, even as it has aspired to material degrees, and render this just government victorious. Confirm this revered nation to upraise the standard of the oneness of humanity, to promulgate the most great peace, to become thereby most glorious and praiseworthy among all the nations of the world. O God, this American nation is worthy of thy favors and is deserving of thy mercy. Make it precious and near to thee through thy bounty and bestowal. Abdul Baha, servant of the glory, center of the covenant, son of Baha'u'llah, the prophet founder of the Baha'i revelation. Dear friends, we have arrived at a historic night. This Friday, August 7th, 2026, marks the 6th anniversary of the founding of CFN, Caribbean Fireside Network. On that fateful night 6 years ago, 22 souls gathered with Caribbean connections from various parts of the Western Hemisphere, including Canada, Jamaica, Tobago, Trinidad, and the United States of America, to begin this process. 6 years later, through the grace, mercy, and blessing of the Most High, we are still here. We are very grateful. This is a cyberspace where we fellowship, share, and inspire each other, while acknowledging the prophets, saints, and ancestors who have paved the way for us and who constantly assist us from the divine realm. Tonight, I welcome each of you who have chosen to be with us. I want to acknowledge two stalwart souls with a Caribbean connection who have recently ascended. Sir Garfield Gary St. Auburn Sobers, born July 28, 1936, ascended 17 July 2026, the world's greatest all-round cricketer, and Miss Shamshi Sadagat, born 28 November 1925, ascended 29 July 2026, possibly the world's greatest Baha'i pioneer. Sir Gary was born and raised in Barbados, while Sister Shamshi was a Baha'i pioneer to Trinidad and Tobago. So those are their Caribbean connections. In the tablets of the divine plan, Abdul Baha foretold the spiritual destiny of America with some of these words that follow. And tonight, as we delve into a document a common endeavor, realizing the promise of America from the Baha'is, I believe this document is destined to be at the center of conversations for the coming years. We welcome our presenters tonight, Mrs. Deborah Pierce and Mr. Jeffrey Ewing. And these are the words that Abdul Baha used to capture the spirit of the American Baha'i community. He said, "The moment this divine message is carried forward by the American believers from the shores of America and is propagated through the continents of Europe, of Asia, of Africa, and of Australasia, and as far as the islands of the Pacific, this community will find itself securely established on the throne of an everlasting dominion. Then will all the peoples of the world witness that this community is spiritually illumined and divinely guided." I am very happy that an American pioneer, Dr. Peter McLaren, brought the faith to my village in Tobago on August 14th, 1969. So next week, 7 days from now, it would be 57 years since our family was given this precious gift by an American pioneer. And now I have adopted America as my physical home, and I still carry the roots of the Caribbean and Tobago, and I just want to be the best servant that I can, and the best divine lover to each of you in this space and outside of this space. So, with this, I want to introduce our speakers. And our brother Jeffrey doesn't need a lot of introduction because he is possibly our most prolific speaker in this space. I love him very much. We were Baha'i friends serving in New York City many years ago. And I had the good fortune of attending his wedding where he asked me to chair the program. So I always remember those beautiful moments. So Jeffrey was an actor, and that was his profession most of his life. And if he chooses to share anything more about his life when he speaks, then that's up to him. Our other speaker is Mrs. Deborah Pierce, whom I have not yet met in person, but we studied together the book World Order of Baha'u'llah with a group from across the globe, which I was invited to by my friend Taheri Linton, who is here with us tonight. I serve with Taheri in Haifa. So let me give you a brief introduction to Deborah, and she would be the second speaker. First, Jeff would speak, and then Deborah would speak. Deborah Pierce. Miss Pierce has 30 years of experience implementing human resource strategies that enhance company culture and create high-performing teams aligned with corporate goals. Currently, she is CEO and managing partner at Winstall Insights LLC, where she advises and provides all levels of HR support to biotech companies from preclinical through late-stage development and commercial launch. Prior to this, Ms. Pierce was Vice President, Human Resources at Elox Pharmaceuticals. She also held executive-level HR positions with pharmaceutical companies Teva Corp., Baxter Health Corp., and Hospira Inc. She began her career in human resources at Motorola, where she held several positions of increasing.
Coming on right now. Coming on right now.
Yeah, my co-host, can you kindly mute anyone who is off, unmuted? Thank you. She began her career in human resources at Motorola, where she held several positions of increasing responsibility over 12 years, including 3-year expatriate assignment in Beijing, China. Ms. Pierce has been an active member of the Baha'i community throughout her life, serving in a variety of capacities. She has regularly hosted firesides, deepenings, devotional meetings, and study circles, welcoming friends, neighbors, and seekers into meaningful conversations about spiritual principles and community building. Early in her service, Deborah represented the Baha'i community as a youth representative to the United Nations in Vienna, Austria, where she participated in international discussions on issues of global concern. She later served as secretary of the local spiritual assembly of Concord, Massachusetts. Deborah now resides in Northern Virginia, where she continues her service as secretary of her neighborhood cluster. Deborah earned her BA in history from Smith College in Massachusetts and a master's in public administration from Millbury Institute of International Studies in Monterey, California, and has completed her comprehensive exams towards a PhD in industrial/organizational psychology at the Illinois Institute of Technology. So I want the Caribbean family to open their mics and welcome these two amazing souls, Mr. Jeffrey Ewing and Mrs. Deborah Pierce. And the format will be Jeffrey will speak on the first half of the document, and Deborah would speak on the second half. So open your mics, everybody, and let's give these two amazing servants of Baha'u'llah a wonderful CFN welcome.
Thank you.
Wonderful
All right.
CFN welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome, welcome, you guys.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
Oh, good.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
thank you. Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello, Pa.
Okay, Brother Jeffrey, it's 1 minute to 8:30. The mic is yours. Thank you again and welcome.
What's that, this issue with my screen? My screen just got clogged up again. Okay, I think I'm good. Yeah, first off, I just want to say that I'm having some vocal issues, so I'm sucking on lemons and I'm drinking tea, and I'm going to give you all I got. So first off, I just want to thank everyone for being here. Of course, a special thanks to Willis for inviting me. Although I must admit that I wasn't initially thrilled by his request. I figured that this common endeavor had been receiving front burner attention for nationwide for such a long time. I figured it was all talked out. What could I add that everybody hadn't already heard? So my first response to Willis was, nah, man, I'm not feeling it. Now, I didn't know this about Willis. He doesn't like taking no for an answer. He says, what do you mean you don't feel it? You haven't been a Baha'i for 72 years. No, man, I've been a Baha'i for 55 years, and I just don't know if I want to do this. He said, you can do it. I want you to do it. I said, come on, man. Every time you ask me to do something, I say yes, but this time I just got to say no. He says, you have said no to me before, and I've let you get away with it. I want you to do this. So I said, okay, man, just give me a couple of days to decide. I want to read the letter again, but if I get back to you and I say no, you got to accept it. Now, he didn't respond like most people do. He didn't say like, oh, okay, just let me know as soon as you can. He just said, I'll send you a copy of the letter. You discuss the first 2 pages and Deborah will do the last 2. Thank you, my brother. It was like he didn't even hear me say, I need a couple of days to decide. He just heard me say, yes, I'll be glad to. Also, I just finished reading a book that he wrote about his father entitled The Man I Love and Me. it was mentioned a few times how, shall we say, intense his father was. So I know where Willis gets it from. But all that aside, here we are. My response on rereading the letter was the same as it was initially. It's timely, but not necessarily new. I'll say more about that in a minute. Now, first off, I know the National Spiritual Assembly is composed of diverse, smart, intelligent people. So they had the input of numerous perspectives. Now, I assume they consulted long and hard about this letter. Then it was assigned to someone or someone's to write it. And then it was run past the National Spiritual Assembly again. They approved it, and then they released it to us. But why now? And why in the style that it was written? Now, keep in mind, I'm only sharing my opinion about the first 2 pages. And my opinion is based only on theory, because I was not in the room when this letter was written. What I know from many years of being an occasional writer myself, from reading books, plays, etc., watching movies, very important to impress the listener or reader early on, or you lose them. They put the book down, they change the channel, or whatever. In other words, you only get one chance to make a first impression. So in reading this letter, numerous times there was a sentiment that I recognized, reminiscent of Martin Luther King Jr. circa 1965. That's what I mean when I say it wasn't necessarily new sounding. I kept hearing his voice in the words from this Common Endeavor letter. Maybe you can hear it in this excerpt that I took from the letter. This is from the letter. This is from the letter we're talking about. It's not a Dr. King speech, but I want you to listen to it as though you're hearing his voice, because that's what I heard. Freedom, equality, and justice are, in essence, moral and spiritual principles. They stand alongside other important values like moral courage, trustworthiness, generosity, integrity, and not the least, love. At the heart of the change required for true prosperity and the reflection of the nation founding principles is a recognition that all people belong to one human family. Only in unity can we thrive, yet the principle of oneness is not based on uniformity. Instead, it embraces and nurtures the diverse expression of our common humanity, as intended in the phrase, e pluribus unum, out of many, one. Now, according to this principle, prejudices of any kind are a distortion of the human spirit, not its essential nature, and must be overcome. Our challenge now is to focus innovation, creativity, and effort on the spiritual dimensions of change. I have a dream today. So that's Martin Luther King Jr. Did he drop in on the National Spiritual Assembly while they were creating this lake? Who knows? But since this is my theory, I'm leaving the door open to the possibility. What I do know is that the members of the National Spiritual Assembly are very savvy, and they have their fingers on the pulse of this nation and are well aware of its history. They know that 60 years ago, most white people did not connect with the message of Martin Luther King. White people felt somehow it was a black problem, even though he always spoke of unity and how we're all in this together. White folks generally just didn't get it. But at least they were aghast when it came to hoses and dogs being let loose on people. They spoke out against that. But as far as equality across the board, they weren't going for it. No real consideration. But now, over 60 years later, they're feeling the pain. All ethnicities are feeling the pain of injustice, and they're getting more and more vocal about it. Food, gas, housing, violation of human rights, blatant immorality. A quote from the Baha'i writings: the vitality of men's belief in God is dying out in every land. The corrosion of ungodliness is eating at the vitals of society. Unquote. People are stunned, at a loss, desperate, looking for a lifeboat. They're feeling black pain. The sad thing is that the condition of this country had to get so universally bad and scary for everyone before we could all even potentially circle around us and support a letter like this. It had to get so bad. Now, as we all know, timing is everything. And the NSA, well aware that this general desperation could potentially be a source of unity, all in the same boat kind of unity. They could have felt that the time was ripe to take the gamble and pray this letter would not only be received as reasonable, but that it would touch the hearts. So they took a collective deep breath and they released the lifeboat, common endeavor. Now, of course, we don't know how the letter will be received in the fullness of time or what impact it will have long range, but I say it's hopeful that it truly could initiate conversations. Cross our fingers. Now, the idea of the letter is on the money. Our country is in trouble. So much has been coming at us so hard and so fast. It's been discombobulating, causing national feelings of maladjustment. And in regards to that term maladjustment, here's a quote from Albert Einstein. When people live in a time of maladjustment, when there is tension and disequilibrium, then the people become unbalanced themselves and then may follow an unbalanced leader. Now that's our country at present. But the Baha'i faith projects a great and wonderful vision for America's future. We have to put our faith in our teachings that are quite specific about how bad things will get worldwide before they get better. We're now in the midst of that decline. From Baha'u'llah, the prophet founder of the Baha'i faith, he says adversity, prolonged, worldwide, afflictive, allied to chaos and universal destruction, must needs convulse the nations, stir the conscience of the world, disillusion the masses, precipitate a radical change in the very conception of society, and coalesce ultimately the disjointed, the bleeding limbs of mankind into one body, single, organically united, and indivisible. Unquote. So the long and short of it is that when this chaotic period is over, according to the Baha'i writings, America will have become the spiritual leading country in the world. Now, how that will come to pass, nobody knows. But we as Baha'is are 100% sure of it. We have tons of positive to contribute to these elevated conversations because we have a plan and a pretty impressive track record of successfully connecting with the innate nobility and goodness of like-minded people. We bring clarity, hope. We've gratefully engaged in thousands of grassroots community building efforts, faithfully sustaining the ongoing efforts of spiritually renewing this nation. Much of that is stated in the letter, which leads me to this aside. I never explained what it was that finally convinced me to accept Willis's invitation to speak tonight, besides his obvious charm and brilliance of expression. The fact is, I discovered an interesting old video from 1966 that highlighted an interesting topic, which I felt was clearly germane to this letter. I'll get to that video momentarily, but I want to be very clear that the opinions that I'm sharing this evening about moving forward are clearly my own, definitely not ones I've perfected, but are methods I sincerely believe are worth striving to perfect. So this presentation is definitely not about giving advice or how to do anything, as I'm really unqualified on any how-to level. Just ask anyone I know. This presentation is more along the lines of just sharing some ideas about serving, reminders to me as I was putting this presentation together, about approaches that have assisted me in making the separate moments of my days a little bit more meaningful, being present in the moment. Now, in following what the letter states, we are to focus innovation, creativity, and effort on the spiritual dimensions of change. Read that again. Following what the letter states, we are to focus innovation, creativity, and effort on the spiritual dimensions of change. The necessity for this focus, as the letter states, is that material achievements have changed our lives but have not yielded shared prosperity, meaning we live in an unjust society in which the material aspects of civilization have become our gods, our idols. As a human race, we are morally and spiritually shamefaced in front of God. From the Baha'i writings, material civilization has progressed greatly, but spiritual civilization has been left behind. Material civilization is likened to a beautiful body, while spiritual civilization is likened to the spirit of life. If that wondrous spirit of life enters that beautiful body, the body will become a channel, distribution, and development of the perfections of humanity. Now, this letter also states that the complex endeavor of social evolution requires a range of approaches. So back to being in the moment. What I'd like to share with you in the short time I have is the importance of being able to access moment to moment our innate noble qualities. The idea being that the more of our nobility we access, the more empathy we naturally develop for our fellow man, which leads to more respectful conversations and more compassionate outcomes in all of our undertakings as we go about our business of implementing our common endeavor towards national unity. Everything begins with our personal commitment to expand, to grow. Mark Twain, of course, a well-known writer, humorist, he once said, "The problem with world improvers is they don't begin with themselves." Now, all the people I'll be quoting tonight, including the Baha'i quotes, are addressing the need for major thought changes, heart and soul changes, as the bottom line solution to our universal woes. But from varying vantage points. From Michelle Obama, I believe each of us carries a bit of inner brightness, something entirely unique and individual, a flame that's worth protecting. When we are able to recognize our own light, we become empowered to use it, unquote. That inner light, she says, we are all possess is our nobility. From Eric Fromm, sociologist, psychologist, and an atheist. He passed away in 1980, so he made this statement quite some time ago. He says, man's true possessions consist of what he is, not what he has. These two forms of existence are battling for the soul of mankind. For the first time in history, the physical survival of the human race depends on a radical change of the human heart. So it sounds to me like he's calling for inner, individual, spiritual transformation. Now, I don't know if he'd call it spiritual, although depending on his specific atheist belief, he might. But I can say with a fair amount of certainty that he's not looking to God for assistance. But he was like-minded in that he was clear about what was needed, a radical change of the human heart. And he is clear about what man's true possessions are, what he is, not what he has. Again, nobility. And now back to the video I spoke of earlier and how the Lord is always working in mysterious ways behind the scenes. Lord knew Willis was going to call me. He started preparing me 2 days in advance of that call. That's when I saw this video. I just happened to be watching a short comedy skit on my phone, and when it was over, 3 squares popped up, options on what I could watch next. One option was this old video from 1966, A Hand of the Cause of God, William Sears, entitled Living a Life. Now, for those of you who don't know what a hand of the cause of God is, he or she is one who has been specially chosen, appointed for the protection, propagation of the Baha'i faith, safeguarding its unity, its integrity. There's a little bit more to it than that, but that's sufficient for this presentation. So, Living the Life with William Sears. It was late in the evening, and usually I would have just thought, it looks interesting. I think I'll watch that sometime. But for some reason, God only knows, I thought, I like William Sears. It's only 51 minutes long. I decided to watch it. I mean, God decided I should watch it. Mr. Sears said, this is a paraphrase, that if we are not living the life, meaning transforming ourselves from the inside out by developing our innate spiritual qualities of love, trustworthiness, a sense of justice, kindness, patience, and the like, being non-judgmental, if we're not developing these qualities until they're coming out of our pores, until they become the essence of who we are, the effect of our words on others will be like that of, quote, a cold steel bar held over a pile of metal filings. Nothing happens, no response. When we become one with those noble qualities, that cold steel bar, us, will be transformed, magnified, magnetized. Attractors of those metal filings, which are symbolic of the people we community build with, that we socialize with, that we work with on a regular basis. How does our necessary inner transformation take place? And when do we have the time to hone in on such a substantial undertaking? I mean, we have so many obligations, jobs, kids, meetings, traveling, community building, you name it. Now, while we might mistakenly tell ourselves we're too busy with all these obligations to focus on spiritual transformation, I submit these opportunities are very nicely mixed in with all of those obligations, those jobs, the kids, the meetings, traveling, community building, you name it. Living the life means purposefully being more cognizant, aware, so as to take advantage of these moments as they present themselves every single day, and are oftentimes connected with other people, or sometimes they are other people. How we respond to these gifts, these tests, these opportunities for spiritual growth dictates the pace at which we are able to balance our material and spiritual lives, and at the same time be supportive of others who are on the same path. Now, here's an example of a situation I think that we can all relate to. Okay, say we're at work. Here comes that guy down the hall. Just do not like. He's always sour about something. Bad energy, bad everything. Now, this is an inner transformation opportunity, if we're aware. We ask ourselves, why don't I like this person? He's not very nice. He should be different. Right there. Who are we to say anyone should be different? We haven't walked in their shoes. I don't want anybody judging me saying I should be different. We have no idea what anyone else has gone through in this life that has shaped their personality, what they allow us to see, their public persona, which, by the way, we all have. This person could have been to hell back. Or maybe is just in the midst of that journey right now and just trying to hold it together, like so many of us. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. So instead of dislike for this person coming down the hall, the benefit of the doubt, a sort of a generosity of spirit kicks in. So we decide to speak to him. How's it going, man? Well, naturally, he's surprised because he figures we don't like him. He just might respond. It's going okay, just making it through the day. Quick exchange. But it was a moment of inner transformation, of not being judgmental, of being kind, of sharing our nobility. Inner spiritual growth is necessary, not only for sustaining our unity and our community building work, but also it helps eliminate negative thinking towards one another within the Baha'i community itself. As Baha'is become more conspicuous on the world stage, the masses will start asking, who are these people? And when they come to take a look, it's our sacred responsibility as a community to make sure they experience something special. Not a show, the real thing, that we're walking the walk. If not, they'll take one whiff and they'll be gone. And while we're on this subject of negative thinking, this spiritual transformation process can actually avoid creating bad memories and bad health. Yep, bad memories and bad health connected. Now back to the example of the man walking down the hall that we just didn't like. Of course, this was not an awful situation, but for the sake of this argument, let's just say it was awful. We wound up putting a positive spin on that situation. If we hadn't, all our memories about this man would have been bad ones. Bad memories oftentimes literally register negatively with our physical health, causing knots in our stomach, skyrocketing blood pressure, strokes, major liver problems. Bad memories can do all that. Now, we've transformed this man into a good memory. And we might even smile when we think of him. And we thank God for sending him into our lives. Fewer bad memories. And keep in mind, lest we become arrogant, thinking, hey, I got it together. I'm cool. We are all, some points in our lives, I say some points in our lives, plural, we are all at some points in our lives a God-sent test for somebody else. An opportunity for their spiritual growth. We are their test, their gift. Now, this kind of awareness not only assists us with our recognition and application of our noble qualities and with the health of our memory bank, but the big picture is that it's helping us to prepare for the afterlife. It's interesting. It's interesting that the work we're doing to make this world a better place is the same work necessary to prepare us for the next world. So we're just sort of killing two birds with one stone. Preparation. That's what's behind everything. It's happening at once. The entire purpose of developing these spiritual qualities, for going through this exercise of community, the entire purpose of understanding that the material world is no use to us except to provide us with lessons to support our spiritual advance. Nothing else. We must strive to give it the same value Baha'u'llah does. None. He writes, the world is but a show, vain and empty, mere nothing, bearing the semblance of reality. Set not your affections upon it. No attachment to this material world. So when God calls us home, we can hit the ground running, full spiritual stride. That's what this life is all about. Getting ready. Now, as I wind down, the Baha'i writings promise at some point in our transformation process, the manifold favors and outpouring grace of the Holy and Everlasting Spirit will confer such new life upon the seeker. He will find himself endowed with a new eye, a new ear, a new heart, a new mind. Unquote. Meaning we'll see through God's eyes, hear with God's ears, think with God's mind, which translates into our lives as promoting only love and unity. So as I stated at the outset, I've only been sharing my perspectives on approaching this common endeavor. There are things I work on, had a modicum of success with, but perfection, well, let's just say that the clock is ticking. I'm running out of time. So are you. So I will close with this quote from Carl Sagan, man of many titles, astronomer, scientist, writer, just to name a few. He shares his vision on the outcome of our efforts. He writes, who are we, if not measured by our impact on others? That's who we are. We're not who we say we are. We're not who we want to be. We're the sum, the influence and impact that our lives have on others. unquote. So to all those who, to quote the letter, hold the promise of America in their hearts, thank you for listening. Have a good night.
Well, I'm so happy that I fought with my brother to make sure that he was our speaker for tonight. And as always, he has just hit the ball out of the park. Thank you, Brother Jeffrey. God bless you and your parents and your foreparents and all your relatives and friends, many of whom are here. That's one thing with Jeff. Anytime I invite him to speak, close to half of the audience is either his friends and family. So welcome to Sister Mashea and Brother Todd and Alet, friends from all the way in Chile, and all those others that I don't know by name, but I just want to acknowledge your presence and welcome you here. So while we savor the thoughts, I want to play a song and get Deborah ready to take the mic after this song.
For you, I desire spiritual distinction. That is, you must become eminent and distinguished in morals. In the love of God, you must become distinguished from all else. You must become distinguished for love and humanity, for unity and accord, for love and justice. You must become distinguished in all the virtues of the human world, for faithfulness and sincerity,
For justice and fidelity,
for firmness and steadfastness,
for philanthropic deeds and service to the human world,
for love toward every human being,
for unity and accord with all people,
for removing prejudices, for promoting international peace.
finally,
You must become distinguished for heavenly illumination, and for acquiring the bestowals of God. You must become distinguished for love and humanity, for unity and accord, for love and injustice. You must become distinguished in all the virtues of the human world. I desire this distinction for you.
this must be the point of distinction among you.
Mr. Willis, what's the name of that song, sir?
This song is called You Must Become Distinguished. YouTube.
Thank you.
Well, friends, we have come to the moment for Sister Mrs. Deborah Pierce to take the mic for the second 2 pages of A Common Endeavor, that brilliant document from the Baha'is of the United States, written by our National Spiritual Assembly. And we are going to be the champions of this document as we share it with the American people to mark this 250th anniversary of the Declaration of America's Independence. So with that, Deborah, welcome to CFN. This is your debut performance. We are so happy that you were brave enough to join this family. Go ahead, unmute, please.
Well, warm greetings, everybody. It's been an amazing experience, just as experiencing the warmth of the Caribbean network. I've enjoyed it immensely. I think I'm going to take away much more from it than I will give you, but I'm going to give it my best shot. Even though I'm completely new to this fantastic network that's been going on for 6 years, I kind of feel a connection. So Willis and I have known each other very briefly as part of another study circle. However, when he asked me to come and talk to you about a common endeavor, I was like, sure, why not? I love this document. There's so much to be inspired by, especially the back section of it, the last 2 pages, because that's where we get down to talking about conversations. And we all love having conversations with people in our lives. But before I dive into that, I just really want to say this is the first time I've heard Jeffrey speak. And what a fabulous speaker you are. Incredible insights, how you pull in different quotes. Really great presentation. And so what I also want to say too, you're so, yeah. What I also want to say too is, you know, Willis has incredible intuition. The coincidences of me being invited, I think Jeffrey spoke about some coincidences that made him to get to say yes to present. And one of them is when I read this document, Jeffrey brought forth his recollection of Martin Luther King. My recollection and my point of orientation towards this document is my father. And I share this because he had a very simple approach to becoming a Baha'i. And it was kind of a purity of thought. And he went on a big adventure in his early 20s. He built a boat with 3 other Navy, Army people in the Philippines, and they decided one night on the back of a napkin to build a boat and sail it around the world. And they took almost 2 years, and they went to 27 different ports around the world. And at the end of that trip, he stopped in Barbados and met my mother, Patricia Ewing, who is passed. I put her name on this message board in memory of her tonight. My father was colorblind, but he could see the color yellow, and she was wearing a yellow bathing suit. And so they danced the night away in Barbados. And within 1 year, they got married. And 1 year after that, they became Baha'is and have served the faith. But my father became a Baha'i literally within 3 months of being introduced to the faith. And he just simply said, on my travels around these different ports around the world, he just saw the commonalities in the family of humanity. They love their families, they love their children, they love their faith, and they build community. And that's really what he saw in the Baha'i faith, in the Baha'i message. And this is what we see in a common endeavor. It's a very simple message of, diagnosing our current reality, of principles that we cherish as a nation, of truth, liberty, and justice, but also, in addition to our material progress, principles around social justice, the importance of a moral fiber of a nation and of an individual, and of course, our spiritual qualities that Jeffrey highlighted in his presentation. And then really on this back half of the letter, it's about action, what action looks like, and a calling for every person into action. And it's not knowing, or it's not having all the answers either, right? It's through a process of grassroots learning and listening and conversations. And then, of course, at the end, a call of hope and an invitation to join the society building powers that we all possess, and particularly that the Baha'i faith talks about. But I just wanted to share that I immediately said yes to Willis, mostly because I love this document. It would give me an opportunity to study it in a little more depth in order to present it. But I'm super excited about the connection of my mom, Patricia Ewing, and Jeffrey Ewing having the same last name, and talking about how they met in the Caribbean, in Barbados. And it's just great to be here with you all this evening. So I feel your love. I hope you feel my love to be here. Yeah, so as a new member to the group, I also just want to mention my dear friend Tahereh Linton. I'm pretty sure because Willis and Tahereh are dear friends, and I'm a very dear friend of Tahereh, that forms kind of a perfect triangle too for us to be here sharing. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about the second half of this letter. And I numbered the paragraphs, there are 15 of them. And the second half of the letter starts at paragraph 10. And it talks about these conversations. And it talks about learning together through community building. That's the overall theme. So you could say the first part of the letter was talking about this moral foundation of prosperity, both as an individual and as a collective society. The second part gets into a little bit about every person has a role to play. And then every person has a role to play, but how? And the emphasis that the letter is making is through conversations, learning together through community building. And how should we, carry out these conversations? Where should we carry out these conversations? This letter directs us to the fact that to strengthen the recognition we need conversations at all levels of society, from the neighborhood to the halls of government about the shared values that strengthen America's social fabric. So it's conversations at all levels. And I am operating at the neighborhood level. That's where my conversations happen. And I moved into a new neighborhood recently, which is always great fun. I mean, you can work, you might have been living in a neighborhood that for many decades, or you can try your hat at meeting new neighbors. So that's been my experience, is meeting new neighbors. And my daughter, who also believes in community building, thinks baking cupcakes and decorating them is a way to reach out and make friends with neighbors. So my example recently is she did this. She baked cupcakes, she decorated them, and both my daughters and I, my two adult daughters, they don't live with us anymore. They're off working, but they came to my neighborhood to help me with my community building and reaching out to my neighbors. And we went door to door delivering these cupcakes to as many neighbors and knocking on their door and introducing ourselves. That paid off hugely. And we've hosted what I would call meaningful conversations at our home, just inviting people to share their experience of life, what they value. And it's been quite successful, just inviting people over to our home, serving them a meal, and having these conversations. Now, what is the attitude we're told in this letter should we have when engaging in these conversations? And so the letter actually tells us the attitude and how we should carry ourselves. When carried out these conversations with goodwill, fair-mindedness, a desire to learn, and most importantly, with love, this type of attitude and approach can help build community, catalyze action, and facilitate progress. And then, of course, there's a wonderful quote about the power to transform the world is affected by love. Love originating from the relationship with the divine. Love ablaze among members of a community. Love extended without restriction to every human being. Yeah, so when we go about these conversations, we have a vision of building community, learning together, that they can occur at all levels, at your work, with the government representatives, at the local level, at schools, at interfaith gatherings, and certainly and most importantly, I think, with our neighbors. And it would be nice to have a session, Willis, to share each other's experiences on how that is going, our variety of experiences of reaching out this way and having meaningful conversations with this approach, this attitude of love, a desire to learn. And what I'm looking forward to now, after I've met my neighbors, they've come over to my home a few times, we've had some meaningful conversation, is this catalyst of action and building community. And I know that will take time, but I'm glad that I have started that process. So also, this letter has a lovely way of talking about grassroots action. And that is a common phrase you hear. And what is grassroots action or communities? And it actually, recommends a consultative process of learning together to pursue shared goals. And it's saying that organizations where people practice the principle of the oneness of humanity, we know those types of organizations. We know those types of individuals who appreciate the principle of oneness of humanity. But when groups of individuals come with that focus, they actually can consult and bridge differences, reconcile perspectives, and make collective decisions. So what I love about this is that this illustrates how action can unfold through grassroots learning. And we have questions that represent learning and action. So it's not that we're coming with answers. It's not that we're coming forward with a prescription, but we are coming forward with an attitude of openness, of love, of sincerity. And the National Spiritual Assembly has identified 1, 2, 3. Oops, I accidentally put myself on mute. So when we come together collectively, it's not that we have the answers, but we have good questions that inspire people to contribute their ideas. And these questions are formulated into 5 buckets. One is about capacity building. The second one is about relationship and building genuine bonds of concern and mutual responsibility. The third question is around education. The fourth is around devotional life. And the fifth is around institutions. So this actually, when we ask these broad questions that are recommended, that we ask in our conversations, we're shifting people from being, saying, a passive observer to becoming an active participant in this common endeavor. So in a way, it's a real gift that the NSA has provided us with these 5 questions around these areas. So when you get a chance, I won't read the questions here, go back to the document and read what these questions are and experiment with them in your conversations with your friends, your school teachers, the book clubs that you're part of, etc. And see how people move from being out of a passive observer to an active participant. Now, the last 2 paragraphs of the letter talk really about hope and a series of invites that the NSA is asking us to invite people to. The hope message really is about the work of our nation to harness the power of unity and diversity is a search for new ways of living that can help establish peace and prosperity. So we know the United States is a microcosm of the world. It is an example of unity and diversity where people from different backgrounds can live in peace and can seek justice. So this is what the America is an example, a positive example. Of course, there's room for improvement, but it is an example of how a nation of diverse people can work in unity and diversity. And then the series of invitations, the last paragraph, the NSA is saying to us in this moment in time, because I think when Jeffrey spoke, he said, why is this letter being written and presented to us now? Yes, it's the 250th anniversary of the founding of America, which it's a great time to present this letter. But we know we're in a time of uncertainty and turmoil and unbalance. I think Jeffrey mentioned we're in a state of unbalance. But how does our NSA leave us with the last paragraph? And the NSA is saying to us, all Americans, all of us, don't lose hope. See this moment as an opportunity. It's a precious opportunity. The ground is fertile for this message and conversations with our community members. As we engage in our community efforts and have these conversations, they're saying, serve with courage. It takes courage to have hope when people might become negative, have fear, are despondent, don't know what to do. But don't lose hope. See this moment as an opportunity. Serve with courage. Look beyond differences. Recognize the sincere people around you. Join together in a common endeavor. Draw upon love, justice, creativity, and enterprise, this innovation that Jeffrey had mentioned, and work towards the spiritual renewal that fulfills America's highest aspiration. So this is a lot in this last paragraph that the NSA is encouraging us to do. So, overall, the entirety of the message I find is that, America's promise will be realized not merely through political or economic change, but through the moral and spiritual transformation of us, of individuals and communities. And how is that done? That word action, it's by learning to work together, by sharing, learning, being open to different people's perspectives. So we learn to work together in a common endeavor. Yeah, so that's really all I have to say. And I started out with, I said yes to Willis, not knowing you all, but being very positive about it's the Caribbean. Of course, they're going to be warm and inviting. And I also thought, I love this message because now's our opportunity to really reach out to our neighbors at all levels. And engage in these really important conversations with these very wonderful questions that just open people up and get them thinking about their situation and being protagonists.
Hey, go put on some
Well,
clothes.
this is so brilliant. Thank you, Deborah. It's so interesting that the Barbados connection was made and that
Yeah,
the greatest cricketer that ever lived, all-round cricketer, Gary Sobers, who was knighted by the Queen for his brilliance, he passed away just about 2 weeks ago. I just read the details of that, and here you come with a Barbados connection. Your parents having met there and
yeah,
having the same last name as our other speaker, Jeffrey. So
yeah.
this was absolutely brilliant by both of you. I am going to play one more song and then I have a couple of questions for you before I open up the conversation. You could think about them in the meantime. It's if I'm going to ask both of you to respond to the same questions. In your view, what is the common endeavor that Americans should be concerned with? What is that common endeavor? And then the second one is, having studied the document, how do you envision conversations with friends and fellow Americans about building community for America? So those two questions, you could think about it while I share this song.
Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others. Even the dull and ignorant, they too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain and bitter, for always there'll be greater and lesser persons than yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here, and whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt, the universe is unfolding as it should. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career. However humble, it is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to the virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself. Especially do not feign affection, neither be cynical about love. For in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune. But do not distress yourself with imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here, and whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt, the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive Him to be, and whatever your labors and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be careful, strive to be happy.
You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. You are a child of the universe.
Dear friends, open your mics and give a hearty thank you to our two speakers, Jeffrey Ewing
Thank you so
and Deborah
much.
Pierce.
Really appreciate it.
Beautiful.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Well
you.
done.
Thank
Well
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate you
Thank
all.
you. Thank you.
It was beautifully presented. I just loved every minute of it. And thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Tahare. That means a lot. Oh,
Yeah, you
Willis,
both
you
did
have
a
a
wonderful job. Both of you. Thank you.
Mhm. Willis, you're on mute.
All right, thank you. All right, Jeffrey, and I like both of you to respond to this question that I have, and then we will open up for comments and questions. And dear friends, as you know, we have a big turnout tonight. So if you could keep your comments and questions to 2 to 3 minutes. So Debbie, if you could answer first, and then Jeffrey, in your view, what is the common endeavor that Americans should be concerned with? What is this common endeavor, Debbie?
Well, I think I'm going to go for this concept of look beyond differences. So, calling upon the spiritual power to look beyond differences. I mean, it's something that I believe my father taught me. Like I explained at the beginning of my presentation, he really saw a lot of commonality as he traveled around, at the different locations around the world. I just think it takes incredible spiritual strength and courage and everyday conversations where you need to look beyond differences. I liked what Jeffrey said too about, the man down the hallway who irritates you. We all have those types of situations. And when you increase diversity, it can be challenging. So I think for me, it's look beyond differences.
Okay, and Jeffrey, your response to the question, in your view, what is the common endeavor that Americans should be concerned with? Can you unmute, please?
Yeah, sorry about that. It's kind of what I talked about. It's about I'll just say this: people coming together in honesty, people listening to each other, not just and then just coming back with some nice words. I mean, to me, it is really about developing empathy and connecting with like-minded people. Um, that's what it is. The common endeavor is to come together and to come together. I think spiritually, I think we have to think about the religions. The religions are important. I mean, religion in itself is good. We know that man has distorted it, made it seem like something else. But I think coming together in spiritual spaces is just is really important. So that we know that we all religions can come together. It doesn't matter what religion we are. It doesn't matter what our background was. We're just being honest about what we see in the world and having these honest conversations that can really bond people. And I say this too. I always talk about a sense of humor. You have to have a sense of humor in everything, because if you don't have a sense of humor, you'll lose your mind. But kindness and justice towards one another and sincerity, because people can feel that. So I would say that's kind of to answer your question. I hope that's all I got.
Thank you. All right, second question. Deborah first. Having studied the
How come
document.
Deborah gets to go first? It's just equality of women and men. How come Deborah got to go first?
Yeah. Because we made you speak first, so it's only fair play, justice now. Having studied the document, how do you envision conversations with friends and fellow Americans about building a common endeavor for America? How do we build this common America? How do we talk to people about it? I know you did share a little about it in your presentation, but go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say that my experience of sharing this document with my neighbors is that it starts very slowly, in the sense that I've taken steps to invite them one-on-one to my home for dinner, and after we reach a certain level of comfort there, then I invite them to a larger circle. I don't immediately introduce any writing, so to speak, right off the bat, but I do start with an open question that is interesting along a theme, and people have responded quite positively to that. I do hope we can get to the point where we can talk about more spiritually focused how spiritual principles can be applied to our common endeavor. I just want to let the friends know that I see it as a step-by-step process. It's not just a big leap into sharing this document, or even these 5 questions immediately. It's really about building the relationship, finding that common ground, and starting gradually. And I actually am looking forward to it yielding something. Like I said, in this document, it talked about how doing these steps will catalyze action and facilitate progress.
Same question, Jeff. Having studied the document, how do you envision conversations with friends and fellow Americans about building a common endeavor for America?
Well, I mean, I don't really see this as being, to me, this is another tool, right? We have a lot of tools we can use to share the faith with, or to share what we're trying, the common endeavor. We have a lot of information. I always find myself being pretty direct, when I talk to my friends, right? I mean, I have neighbors here. I got a Christian friend here. I got a Muslim friend over here. And when I have had conversations with them, so I already know kind of what they think about these things. We've had these conversations about what's going on in the world, et cetera. So they're already open to whatever I might say. They might not agree with it, but just being honest and being open, I just think I'm always surprised that when I might think that, well, this guy probably wouldn't be interested in anything I'm going to say, but I'll say it anyway. Like, even if you're just direct teaching, just talking about the faith, sometimes I have these kind of times where I go, well, they probably don't care, whatever. But I'll say something to them. And then I'm surprised that they think about the same thing. They've been thinking about what I just brought up. I've had that happen, a number of times, either my neighbors or people have come to my house. Because people come to my house if they come to my house to do anything, to work, to do whatever, if they're here any length of time, I'm always thinking, well, I'm going to tell them something about the Baha'i faith before they leave, right? And 99% of the times I do. And so many times I'm surprised that when I'll say something about, like, what is your spiritual belief? What do you think about unity and oneness or whatever? I say, what? Say, well, yeah, what do you, It's interesting you asked me that question, because I've been thinking about that a lot. And when that happens, I go, that's Baha'u'llah, Baha'u'llah sent this guy. He sent the right guy, right? So then we just ended the conversation. So for me, it's always looking for the opportunity, and the opportunities are there all the time. And so for me, it's just a matter of just stepping into them. And somebody said about courage, just having the courage to know that we're not alone. Tonight, I see my throat's, my throat didn't bother me almost the whole time I was talking. That was only because I know that Baha'u'llah said, hey, I got you. I got you. So yeah, that's what I would say is just honest, straightforward conversation with as many people as we possibly can. And don't worry about rejection, right? That's another thing. Can't take it personally. That's another thing, because rejection is part of the game. People can look at you like you're crazy. I mean, I've had so many reactions that I just have to laugh. Walk away and laugh. I can't believe this guy. I'll just tell a quick story about just what happened one time. I walked into a mall and I was gonna just do some teaching, some direct teaching. So I was going there, just talk to some people. So I always pray when I'm going to do it. I say some prayers and I go. That's lead me to somebody, right? So I say, oh, here's this brother behind this kiosk, right? By himself, he's not busy. He looks like a perfect guy. Go up to him and say, hey, man, I know you must believe in the unity and the oneness of humankind. He said, no, I don't. I said, what? What do you mean you don't? I don't believe in it, man. And this guy was a buzzsaw. This guy, I ran into a buzzsaw with this guy. He pulled out a Bible that he had earmarked all throughout the whole Bible. He was coming back at me like gangbusters. And I was thinking, man, God, what is it? You got a good sense of humor, God. I'm praying for someone to lead me to somebody, and you lead me to this guy, right? So you never know who you're going to run into. But we ended up on a good note. We ended up being friendly. There was a moment, but like I say, sometimes you just talk to everybody, and you just never know how it's going to come out. But just stay in the game and keep on pitching, keep on speaking, keep on being who we are. And I think that's all we can do, right? Just be who we are and love the people that we're talking to. And always keep in mind that everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind always.
Wonderful. Yeah, this morning I guess I was kind of mentally prepping for this meeting. I decided to take my little bookmarks from Tobago 55 with me. I popped a few in my pocket. I didn't even know how many I had popped in. And I decided to share it with people that I met. And this morning I was able to share it with 4 people. One man who walks 2 dogs and he always says hi. His name is Marco. He got one, and I gave him the website to go to. Then I met a lady who was one building from me, and she was out with her 3 little sons setting up a little soccer game. She's from Brazil. I know her. We say hi. But this morning I decided to share the website with her. And when she looked at it, she said, oh, Baha'i. You were Baha'i. I didn't know you were Baha'i. And I said, yes, I'm Baha'i, and the faith is very popular in Brazil. She says, yes, thanks, and she took it. Then 2 other gentlemen, they were driving a pickup truck, taking up trash around the neighborhood. The younger guy, he always smiles and waves at me, so I flagged them down, and I said, I want to share this with both of you. And the other one was an older gentleman, and he says, I'm from Minnesota. So immediately I said, one of my best friends in Haifa was from Minnesota, David Samandani McCork. He took on his wife's surname. He was McCork, and he married a Persian, and he took her surname with his. And then he says, my name is Glenn. I said, oh, one of my best friends in Haifa was Glenn. So we just made these connections quick, and they were happy to receive the bookmark, and I pointed them out. I said, please check out the website. So there are many thousands of ways to form conversations. What I want to do now, Deborah and
Bill?
Jeffrey, if you have any specific people in the crowd that responded to your invitation, and if you could acknowledge them, and if they want to say something, then that's fine. If not, we'll go on. But I want to give you the chance to acknowledge if any of your guests are here.
Well, of course, my brother and my wife Nancy, Nancy and my brother are here. I didn't look at the crowd. I don't know who's here. I don't know.
Well, I have a comment then.
Okay.
Good.
First of all, thank you both, Jeff and Deborah. Good job. I mean, this letter on the surface it seems very direct and straightforward and beautiful. But I think it is the source of very meaningful conversations. And by meaningful, I guess that could be subjective. I think, Jeff, your opening, was very important and necessary in terms of sort of setting this tone about where we are and who's in the boat, that we're all in the boat right now, and which is I think a call out to our white brothers and sisters, as well, as a form of unity, as unifying. The tragedy and hardship can be a unifying force. And when you have a religious foundation, you at least have something to build upon, and having those meaningful conversations. So I really want to thank you for bringing that up. But truth and honesty, and Deborah, you mentioned education, and that is vitally important as well. That it's great to form relationships, to have relationships with people. That's just sort of what we do. But I think to really have this common endeavor and have these like minds, we have to be educated about what this country is, where it's been, where it's going. The high ideals are wonderful, but we have to really have a very honest and realistic approach to the letter and the call that's being asked of us. And to be able to be just really honest with ourselves, our friends, our loved ones. And I think you both contributed very much to having those conversations. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for those comments, Nancy.
Thank you so much, Nancy. And I just want to comment that I agree. It requires a lot of education about American history. But I also want to say that what I get from the letter too is, don't let that be a barrier for taking action or reaching out and engaging in the conversation. Because I did pick up the fact that, none of us have all the knowledge or all the answers. And this is a collective action. It's almost like we're starting new, or like a clean sheet of paper, in the sense that we're asking these 5 questions that are very open. But, everyone will come with their different perspectives, and we will learn, and we will become more educated, because we're asking these open-ended questions. So we're not coming with a prescription or an answer, we're coming with questions.
Yes,
I want to say something real quick. This might not make sense. Sometimes I see things that I can't quite figure out how to say what I want to say. But I think that this, how would I say? This may be new, this whole situation in this country, for white people, right? But it's not new to us, the situation, right? This is not really a major shift for Black people. It's more of a major shift for white people. And I think when we talk about learning the history, it really is important, because we're not really on the same page. You say starting fresh. I don't think we can say we can start fresh, right? I think we could say, we could feel like, because white folks now are sort of more of them in the same boat, being disenfranchised, whatever, that there's more opportunity for us to connect with them because now there's more of a reciprocal. They can sort of see what we're saying, right? Follow?
Right.
But we've been there. We've been here a long time where the white folks just coming in the game. So
Yeah.
we're just getting. So we have a lot. I think when you talk about listening, we have to really listen and really pay attention to what each other is saying, because a lot of things that you guys are experiencing now, white people, is sort of shocking, and all these different adjectives. But
Mm-hmm.
for us, it's more like, now you know how we feel. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we do from here? Here we are.
Right.
Right. So I don't want to. I don't know what I think about what you said about the clean slate. I don't know if that's the case. Slate. I don't know how the slate gets clean. We start. I don't think that's something that just lost my picture. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you.
Yes.
I just lost. Anyways, that's all I want to say. I think.
Yeah. That might have been a wrong analogy, but I guess where it's coming from is asking a question rather than making a statement or being prescriptive is kind of putting everyone on an even playing field. Like it's a question that we all have to reflect on and contribute to. We're not an observer, we're not a prescriber with an answer. We are just a participant in the question. And in that regard, we all have to roll up our sleeves and do the work.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean,
Together.
we're all in this together, coming from different perspectives. But like you say, the conversation have to understand each other's perspective so that we can move forward. But I think white folks have to just really pay attention when we're speaking, because we have a lot to say that they probably don't know. Not that they're not good-hearted, not that they don't mean well, not that they're not at that same meeting we're at right now, right? We all mean well, right?
Yeah.
To come in, just like you say, with an open mind and willing to listen and embrace what's being said, right? Not go, I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't believe it. Because you hear a lot of times white folks say, I don't believe that. It's not that bad. So now it's kind of like we say the white folks are sort of in the same boat more than they used to be. So now they're kind of saying, yeah, I guess it could be that bad, right? Now they're ready to take a look at what we say, hopefully, right?
Yes, well, I think the vision of the statement, a common endeavor, is how do we work together to achieve the goals, and in the end it says even to surpass the goals of the founders.
Right.
So if we surpass it, it means we are coming to that level of unity and equality and justice, that the divine standard, which is the kingdom of God on earth. And we are the ones who have been chosen to blend together human hearts. As it says in the song, God has chosen you. And it said we must become distinguished in morals, in virtue, in all the virtues of the human world. So we have to grow new muscles, new capacities, and the primary means is the act of having conversations. So in this space, that's what we are having tonight, is conversations. So, but I want to get back to if you or Debbie had anyone here that you want to recognize, please do that, because I want everybody to feel welcomed, and I'm so glad that so many people came to hear you all tonight. It's been a wonderful 6th-year anniversary. We started with 22, and tonight we had over 40 people, so it almost doubled on the 6th anniversary. All right. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment or ask a question to Deborah or Jeffrey?
I'd like to make a comment, Willis.
Go ahead, please.
This is Clyde.
Okay.
I want to say thank you to Jeffrey and to Deborah. And when I think of the common endeavor as Americans, the first thing that comes to my mind is the most vital and challenging issue, and that the elimination of racial prejudice. So when I have conversations with my neighbors, and I plan to have a conversation and a study of the common endeavor, and some of them that I will invite will be white and some will be black. And I know, as Jeffrey was saying, the black friends will definitely focus on the elimination of racial prejudice, advent of divine justice, Shoghi Effendi's words. And then going back, I want to say that Willis has been asking me for a while. He sends me the wonderful invitations to come, and I'm always going to bed early and all that kind of stuff. But when I saw that, and Deborah, I really enjoyed your contribution tonight. But when I saw that Jeffrey would be given a talk, I had to be here. And I just want to say to him, I put it in the chat as well. We miss you in the city of the covenant. We miss Nancy too, but really miss you in the city of the covenant. And thank you, Willis, for, as Jeffrey's saying, not leaving me alone. You know, you even called me to say, what happened to you? You don't come to our gatherings on Friday night. So I'm here. And also, Jeffrey, I want to thank you because not that I'm confessing or anything, but you really brought it home when you talked about this person in the hall, because I have several neighbors in the hall that I've been feeling that way about. And and I feel so ashamed. I'm like, I gotta get this together. And so starting tomorrow morning, Jeffrey, I'm gonna change that tune. It's like, oh, this person gets on my nerves. It drives me nuts. And you really brought it home for me. Thank you so much. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're welcome. It's really good to hear you and see you. We haven't seen you in a long time, and I miss you guys too. We have some good memories in New York. Willis, you.
Some
Uh,
good memories.
I
Good
just want you also to know that if Willis keeps harassing you, you can call the police. You can have you can they'll take care of it.
You have your rights too, right?
And I also
Sure.
I'm sitting here and I'm looking at a photo that I have on my table of my beloved son Kevin, and just thinking of you and Willis were such male, I'll say black male um, examples for my son.
Uh,
And
well,
I'll never,
you said that before, and I really take that to heart.
yeah, and I
It's
always have to
go
say,
ahead. Sorry.
because I remember I took Kevin and my daughter, but I remember Kevin, how much he enjoyed it when you did
Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali. He was all over the place. He was just so excited about that. But again, thank you, Willis. Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you, Clyde. We have three hands raised, so let's give them an opportunity. Carol, Charles, and Sandra, and then Ashmead,
Thank you.
and then Ellis. So we have four. Ellis. Go ahead, please, Carol.
Sure. First, I just want to tell Jeff that the quote from Albert Einstein, I put it in the chat. I was trying to find it as soon as you said it. I'd never heard that before, and I have already shared it with someone. So this was worth, like Clyde, I'm an early to bed person, so that was worth staying up for. And I will also say to both you and to Deborah that I appreciate what you did tonight, because Willis, you were just the conduit, but on Sunday I have to do like the color commentary at a reflection gathering, and my role
is to, when it's appropriate, share passages from A Common Endeavor or themes from A Common Endeavor. And you two have helped me immeasurably with that. So thank you very much. I really,
So
really
glad to hear
appreciate it.
that.
And Willis, the last time I heard Desiderata, I was young and skinny and cute. So thank you for taking me back in the Wayback Machine.
You still are my sister. All right. So Charles and Sandra, thank you for coming. The mic is yours.
Thanks. Also, thanks for our speakers for this evening. And also, I think by the National Assembly giving us this common endeavor, we have been offered a tool that can be looked at and assessed and used based on our particular circumstances and the people that we associate with, our interests, talents, and gifts. Always the answers are in the faith, even before we start having the big revelation, oh, this is what happened, this is what it's meant. It's always been there. And like right now, to have this document during this time, when the country is at such a height racially. I mean, if we're not looking at that and seeing it, then the people that we are associating with are. And they will think, well, you know what, where are you? Where are you? This is not the reality of the world that we're living in. And we're also already given directions on some of the ways to handle these things. For instance, like it tells us, of course, that this is the most vital, challenging issue. So Common Endeavors is addressing the most vital and challenging issue because that was given to us already. And then it also tells us about the responsibilities of us, racially, Blacks and whites in the country in this process. So even in what we plan as individuals, of course, we can do it according to our own circumstances. If it's a community, then we also look at those things that hinder that process. For instance, like there are certain roles that Black people, that Indigenous people have been asked to play, and the positions that their voices should carry in this process. And as a community, we're not used to that. We're not used to doing that. The voices usually come secondary, or it's often people of color have adapted to see what the white majority group is saying and try to find ways to satisfy that. And that's not what it tells us in the writings of the faith. It says to be leaders, to have that voice out there in the forefront, because it is that these connections are spiritual connections. And so for whatever reason, our institutions have told us that people in these categories have some gifts to offer that are unique and special to them, and that voice will help change this country and the world. So if the voice is not heard, then for that to happen, it's going to take longer. And what's happening to our country and the world will take longer. For instance, imagine if when Abdu'l-Baha and the Guardian told us about bringing large numbers of Black people into this country, in this faith, Indigenous people, imagine if we had done that. Would we be in the same place we are now in 2026? Probably not. We'd be a whole new nation. But we didn't. We didn't. And so right now, this is another opportunity. And the other promise is that God's plan is going to happen. And if we don't arise to do it, then someone else will. He said he will raise the stones. So that's true, whether we're Black or white. If we don't follow these kinds of instructions that are given to us, And it's all spiritual. It's all a mystical answer. Our heart guides and directs us, not our head. In this country, it's all head. I mean, historically, it's been head driven, and Baha'u'llah is telling us, look at our heart, open your heart. Those beautiful songs, they were all about heart. It's all about heart. So if we can quieten our minds and listen to our heart, then directions will possibly be much more acceptable and will reach other hearts as we go about our lives. So I just wanted to mention it.
Brilliant, brilliant. All right. Ashmead and then Ellis. Ashmead, are you able to unmute? Is Ashmead still here? All right, Ellis then, because I'm not hearing from Ashmead.
Okay. I want to at least commend the two speakers tonight. I think they have brought very vital information for thought and to motivate persons who may have a little bit asleep. The fact remains in the Baha'i faith, Baha'u'llah has told us that if we don't teach, then our spiritual protection will be lessened. And if we don't teach, the skill of teaching become atrophied. So we have to keep on teaching this cause, keep on lifting up each other for the goodwill of humanity. It's a common thread that we have to develop. Because if we don't pass the message on, then no one else will. No other religion will go and teach another person's religion to somebody else. So we have to teach and keep on teaching. It's a common thread for the propagation of the cause. And I remember when I was in St. Louis, Missouri, a Baha'i friend and I, we went through the streets and we were talking to persons who we met. And those persons were very happy listening to the message. And I could remember having a conversation with my colleague who was with me, a gentleman whose name is Mr. Rich Meyer. And I said, Rich, you know that today we are the trumpeters of the word of God in this day. And it was probably a miracle. Man come from nowhere and blow a trumpet 3 times on his porch and then go back in. So the process is we are the trumpeters of the word of God in this day. And we need to go out there and tell our friends and allow the spirit of Baha'u'llah to permeate the minds and the well-being of every human being who exists on this planet. I thank you.
All right, we're going to take one more. Ashmead, we still haven't heard your voice. If you're still
Can you
there.
hear me now?
Yes, I
Can you
can.
hear me now?
All right. So, yeah, go ahead,
Okay.
please. We're after 10. We'll wrap
Good
up.
night, everybody.
Yep.
I would like to share a couple ideas here. I was doing some research this week in the writings of Abdul Baha, and I came across some things which I believe perhaps I was led to them. Maybe I wasn't. Maybe it's just idle fancy and vain imaginings. But I came across a very interesting quotation by Abdul Baha where he talked about the role that the whites have played in resolving that horrendous social injustice that took place in America. And Abdul Baha made a very surprising statement to me. He said that the black race should be grateful to the white race for the sacrifices that it has made. And he talked about the sacrifices during the Civil War and all that took place and that history. And I thought that to be very interesting. I say these things as someone who is not American and looking in at America, which is this great, amazing enterprise. America is a magnificent country. It's a magnificent undertaking. And America, as has been said before, is always becoming. What caught my eye when I saw the invitation was the fact that it was the 250th. It was a commemoration of the 250th anniversary of America coming to being. I think as Baha'is, we have a grave responsibility in that Baha'u'llah says to be anxiously concerned of the needs of the age in which you live. And to me, that carries a very important responsibility in that as we as Baha'is attempt to administer to an ailing world, we also have to be cognizant of things which perhaps we might not normally think about. There's a very interesting statement again, one which I came across this week by Abdul Baha, when he was talking about the conflict or the tensions between the races in America. And if you'd kindly allow me to just read this brief statement, it's taken from Star of the West. Yeah, Star of the West. And Abdul Baha makes a very, very interesting statement here. He says, but indeed there is a greater danger than only the shedding of blood in the destruction. Only the shedding of blood. It is the destruction of America, because aside from the racial prejudices, there's another agitating factor. It is the hostility of American enemies. These enemies are agitating both sides. That is, they are stirring up within the white race and the colonists against each other. But of this, the Americans are submerged in a sea of ignorance. I think it's very clear. He goes on to say that there shall be great regret if this matter is not resolved and so on. The fact that Abdul Baha indicates or tells us that there are agitating factors beyond just what we are seeing normally. America is the envy of the world. And those who would wish harm to America know that they cannot destroy America through arms and so on. And how they would appear to have approached the matter would be to undermine America internally. So the Baha'is, from what I see, need to be very vigilant that when we go on with these, attempting to help America resolve its issues and the world at large, we have to take into consideration factors which we may not normally or ordinarily consider. And it's a wonderful enterprise. The conversations are wonderful. I can relate myself to being able to converse with people on matters of that are very meaningful, and the tact and wisdom that is required to do so. It's an ever-developing skill, and each occasion is a new challenge, and we learn from each challenge, and we build upon that. It's absolutely wonderful, and I'd say to my American brothers, keep on at it. You have a special mandate. America has a special role to play, that of leading the world spiritually, and it may not be as clinical as it may appear in writing, in our writings and so on, but it's playing its role. That's all I have to share.
Thank you, Ashmid. I wanted to share this final song that I had on my playlist tonight. It's called America by Neil Diamond.
it seems so far away. We're traveling light today in the eye of the storm, in the eye of the storm. Home to a new and a shiny place. Make our bed and we'll say our grace. Freedom's light burning warm. Freedom's light burning warm. Everywhere around the world, they come to America. Every time that flag's unfurled, they come into America. Got a dream to take them there. They come into America. Got a dream they come to share. They come into America. They come into America. They come into America. They come into America. They come into America today. 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 My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty. Of thee I sing, of thee I sing today. Today. Today.
All right. Well, from all around the world, we have come to America, including myself. 39 years I have been in this country, my adopted home, and I've made friends from across the continent and made new ones this past year. Miss Deborah Pierce, as they say, make new friends, keep the old. One is silver, the other is gold. So thanks for being my friend of old, Brother Jeffrey. All right, I am gonna stop the recording, and we could have anybody who wanna just chit chat for our next